Enough is a critical concept when it comes to reaching financial independence. The concept of enough is that once you've reached a certain level of wealth, or truly passive income as they're essentially interchangeable, having more doesn't actually lead to any increased happiness. In fact, in many situations, more leads to decreased happiness. Mo money, mo problems. More to worry about losing, more to protect from lawsuits, more to worry about paying taxes on, more estate planning tasks to do. There's no specific dollar amount that represents enough for everyone. For some, it could be a low six-figure amount, while for many it will be a seven-figure amount. It might even be an eight-figure amount for a few. If this is the first time you've heard of this concept and you have no idea how much enough might be for you, multiply what you spent last year by 25 and that'll get you into the right neighborhood. Katie and I have been fortunate to have reached enough relatively early in life. In my case, in my early 40s, and in Katie's before she even reached that notable milestone. This has all been very exciting, of course, to watch our income and wealth grow so rapidly, but it is also at times terrifying. In some ways, it has provoked an existential crisis as we try to figure out what to do with the rest of our lives now that we are freed from the need to exchange our time and life energy for money. If, as Jonathan Clements has stated, acquiring a nest egg sufficient to support you the rest of your life is the most important financial goal, what comes next? We fully recognize that this is a dilemma that many of our readers, as fortunate as their financial situations may be, do not currently face. Some do, of course, but only a small percentage. No matter your station, there will always be somebody with more wealth and income than you and somebody with less. However, it is a dilemma that we hope and fully expect that each of our readers will face eventually, so we thought it was worth addressing. So even if you are nowhere near financial independence, or even if you're still struggling with paying off the credit cards, hopefully there's something in this post that you can use. Like with everything on this blog and every other source of financial information out there, take what you find useful and leave the rest. Today I'm going to discuss a few things to consider when you get beyond enough. This is relatively new territory for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if my views on the subject change over time. But I think I've learned a few items worth sharing. So I'm going to give you 6 tips for those who have enough. The first involves dealing with guilt. Katie and I have worked hard to become educated, make good financial decisions, grow a business, and help as many people as we could. But we didn't work as hard as what we've been blessed with. By no objective measure can we claim to deserve this level of financial success. I recently had the opportunity to discuss my grandfather's life with my mother. She was one of 12 children raised on a 200-acre farm in eastern Utah that was purchased about the time of her birth. Prior to that point, this grandfather, like my other grandfather, was a miner. There was a one-bedroom home on the farm. The girls got the bedroom. There were 3 to 4 in the bed. My grandparents slept in the only other room in the house, the front room, and the boys slept in the barn. They primarily ate bread, along with potatoes, carrots, and onions raised in a large garden. The farm grew wheat, barley, and hay. There were 15 to 20 cows to milk each day and about 200 sheep. Nearly the entire production of the farm was consumed by the family. The only cash crops were the cream from the milk and the wool from the sheep. In addition, starting when my mother was young, my grandfather took a job pumping gas at the service station all night. He would return from work, sleep for a few hours, farm for a few hours during the heat of the day, sleep a few more hours, and go back to work. Needless to say, the children had to take care of most of the farm chores. My grandfather busted his butt for his entire life just to keep food on the table. By contrast, I'm 43 years old, never have to work again, and can afford to buy just about anything my heart desires. Given technological change, my privilege, wealth, opportunity, and health are beyond that of the vast majority of kings that have ever lived on this planet. Do I feel a little guilty about that? You betcha. This is not uncommon for the wealthy and something you have likely had to deal with in the past or will have to in the future. Here's my take. There's nothing wrong with having wealth and privilege so long as you use it to better the lives of those around you. As Uncle Ben of Spider-Man fame said, with great power comes great responsibility. In fact, I have no doubt that my grandfather intended for me and my 80-plus cousins to enjoy a more privileged life than he had. That was why he went to war in the 40s and why he worked so hard after he came home. Number 2, spend a little. From time to time, Katie and I have very deliberately increased our lifestyle. We've intentionally spent more money on clothing, food, shelter, vacations, and even stuff. The fun thing about having enough is that anything above and beyond that amount can safely be squandered in any way you choose without it affecting the fact that you have enough. Yes, boosting your spending on an ongoing basis has the nasty side effect of increasing how much enough is. But within reason, that's okay. And one-time expenditures are exactly that. course, good luck trying to tell ongoing expenses apart from one-time expenditures, by the way. That's a dilemma I never considered before, but frequently think about now. Bear in mind what the literature says about happiness. The best way to buy happiness is to have shared experiences with people you care about. Limit how much stuff you buy. Make sure that which you do is of high quality, and remember that everything you own owns a little piece of you. Also, as you loosen the purse strings, be sure to remember what you are consuming. While you have enough money to buy and do whatever you want, remember that every product or service you consume has effects on the rest of the planet and every species on it. In many ways, the resources of the planet are more limited than yours. Fix it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without is more than a method to build wealth. It's a prescription for improving sustainability on our planet. Number 3, continue to invest. Despite having enough, we're still saving and investing. There are really 4 categories of what we're doing with our money. Currently, the smallest category of what we do with our money is spend it. The next smallest category is give money away. We're proud to give away more than we spend each year. This includes money given to charities, money given to family, primarily 529 contributions for our nieces and nephews, and the White Coat Investor Scholarship. The third category, taxes. While the 2018 tax code helped a little, over 30% of our income still goes to support our national, state, and local governments and is spent as directed by our elected officials. But the largest category in our budget is still our savings. Why are we still saving so much? I guess part of it is habit, but there's more to it. I think some of it is just boosting things up a bit. Having a little more than enough provides us a little extra financial security. Some of it is rounding out our investments. For example, we've met the original goals we had for money to give to our children for college in their 20s. But we bumped those goals up a bit because we could, so we're still putting some money there. Some of that savings also provides us a tax break and a little extra asset protection, and that's nice too. If our spending continues to rise, as it has throughout our adult lives, we may also need a little more than what we now think is enough. So saving more allows us to increase spending. I've been impressed by our ability to spend more and more over the years without feeling like we're wasting it. So additional savings adds a bit of a fudge factor in there. For sure, a big chunk of this additional savings is going to end up being given away eventually, whether to heirs or charity. But would those heirs and charities be better off being given this money now or being given more money after we've invested it for a few more decades? I don't claim to be Warren Buffett, but I've discovered that I'm a whole lot better at investing money than the vast majority of those on the planet. That certainly includes my kids at this point. Number 4, give money away. Beyond enough, your focus should turn more and more to the needs of others. This includes your financial focus. Another cruise probably isn't going to make you any happier, but the $10K you could spend on it can buy an awful lot of Meals on Wheels. It could pay the nurse practitioner's salary in the homeless clinic for a month. At 20 patients a day, that could be 400 medical encounters you paid for. You could vaccinate or feed hundreds in the developing world. Prefer to teach a man to fish rather than give him a fish? You could pay a year's worth of college tuition with that $10K, and that's in the crazy expensive U.S. education system. I've written about charity many times before, but beyond enough, more and more of your income should be going toward it. Given the thousands of charities in this world, there must be at least one whose mission you agree with. Number 5, use your time wisely. You now have minimal limitations on your financial resources, but you only have a limited amount of time, and perhaps a lot less than you think. This has all kinds of implications on your day-to-day decisions. When possible, exchange time for money. Maybe that means hiring a lawn care service or a housekeeper. Maybe it means Ubering instead of taking the subway. Maybe you hire an investment manager, even after a lifetime of do-it-yourself investing. Some expenditures may even extend your life. Preventive, diagnostic, and therapeutic health care, medications, good food, a gym membership, a safer car, a less polluted city. Just as you should use your money to better humanity and the planet, so you should use your time. We're not just talking about volunteer work here. When you're no longer working for money, I would recommend you make sure your work meets these 3 criteria, no matter what it pays. Number 1, give you something to do. Boredom and a lack of structure have killed more retirees than cancer. Want to be happy? Retire to something, not from something. 2, allow you to make a difference in the world. Define this however you like, but purposeful work is critical when its main purpose is no longer to trade your time for money. Number 3, provide a challenge. Routine, easy, mindless work might have seemed attractive when you were a teenager, but most of those reading these words or listening to this video have since learned that a job without challenge rapidly loses its joy. That challenge might be making more money or creating jobs for other people, which is fine, but make sure there is something there that will keep you learning and growing. Number 6, take care of your health. Since you're no longer working for money, there's no reason to be a slave to your job. Turn down the stuff you don't want to do. If the bad stuff outweighs the good and it can't be adjusted, quit. No reason to be working 80 hours a week. You don't have time to find the perfect balance of productivity, recreation, and rest. Consider the recommendation of Brigham Young for the balanced day: 8 hours of work, 8 hours of play, and 8 hours of sleep. He said life is best enjoyed when time periods are evenly divided between labor, sleep, and recreation. All men, women, and children should labor, all must sleep, and if mental and physical balance is to be maintained, all people should spend 1/3 of their time in recreation, which is rebuilding, voluntary activity, never idleness. 8 hours work, 8 hours sleep, and 8 hours recreation. That would seem to indicate no more than a 56-hour work week. But most will find that they have enough non-paid productive work to do that they don't need to spend more than 20 to 30 hours a week to get what they're looking for out of a job they don't need the money from. Exercise more. Who says you can't be in the best shape of your life in your 40s or 50s? Eat better, lose weight, sleep more, de-stress, see a therapist, travel, increase your spirituality, rekindle relationships with family and friends, build new ones. Find that balance that eluded you when you had to work for money. I hope those tips are helpful. As I noted above, this is new territory for us, and we're figuring it out as we go along. I hope you have the opportunity to wrestle with these issues and find your own path. Come by the blog and leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this video and this presentation of this information. What will you do when you have enough? How much is enough for you? If you've been beyond enough for a long time, what tips do you have for those of us who have found ourselves in this position more recently?